What odd or unusual preferences have you developed due to growing up poor? I still can't bring myself to write in Mad Lib books, or on things that could be reused. Growing up ultra poor, it was a rare treat to get something frivolous, but Mad Libs were also semi-educational, so every once in a while I would get a new Mad Lib book from my dad. But I felt a lot of anxiety about wasting them by writing directly in them. If I numbered the blanks and then wrote on a separate sheet of paper with the corresponding numbers, I could reuse the books over and over again. Being really poor made me live in this awful anxiety-driven state of don't use it up because you might not get any more anytime soon and you better use it all and not waste anything, which made me overthink and overanalyze my actions. I was confronted by this preference to not mess things up in my master's degree program. Because the prof would expressly tell me it was okay to write on the handouts because she would share the digital copies with us so we would have a clean copy to use in our own classes later, and I still couldn't do it. Using plastic grocery bags as trash bags. Don't really see the point in using actual garbage bags. Garbage bags. Leftovers from your grandma's bags. Clothes bags. Lunch bags. The all-around reusable bag. And the one bag filled with all those other bags. I still prefer poverty food. I didn't really grow up poor, but my dad is a cheap mofo. I love me some ramen, hot dog sandwiches, and bologna. You sound constipated af. It's cheaper that way. Saves on toilet paper. Not letting anyone in the house. Same. My house was just always falling apart and cluttered. Operating under a barter system with friends. Where I grew up there wasn't much money, so people often bartered goods, services, and often exchanged small handmade gifts as payment. Then I moved and discovered that wealthier people do not like this at all. At my old elementary school, kids would exchange all sorts of things for other things. Give someone your lunch, get $1, buy a soda with the dollar, give a kid who sells Sprite and Coca-Cola your soda, get $2. Continue making bigger investments and stocking up on inventory. Kids made hundreds off of it. It's great practice for real finance. Elementary economy was mainly ran by dirty money. Good practice for encountering money-hungry businesses. Those days were the best. Anytime someone tries to buy me food or anything for me, I always try to go for the dollar menu or try to go for the lowest amount, even if they say buy whatever. Even though I don't have to as much, I still calculate how many hours I have to work in order to afford something to decide if it is a need or a want. Do I want to work 2.5 hours to fill my gas tank, or 2.5 hours to buy a single shirt? I want the shirt, but the shirt isn't going to get me to work. I really want a Switch and several new games. I'll have to work at least 9 days to afford the Switch and the 3 games I want, and after I've worked those 9 days, I can't justify spending the money on the Switch and the games. I legit cringe when I buy anything slightly expensive, and I find myself constantly buying the cheapest store brand products instead of name brand shit. No problem with that. For cleaning products and toiletries, the store brand is basically the same as name brand except cheaper. Just because you're not poor doesn't mean you can't save money. I typically buy cheap, but toilet paper is one thing I'll spend a little more on. My arsehole deserves better. Dated a richer girl who told me she had never had Chef Boyardee or Spaghettius before but was disgusted by them. Apparently her parents had always told her growing up that canned food was for dogs. What the fuck? Her saying that hit especially close to home because I eat Spaghettius with a grilled cheese at least 3 times a week. My dad grew up even poorer than me and he won't eat Chef Boyardee because it is so shitty. I never had it at my own home as a kid, just the occasional friend's house. Didn't like it at all, and their parents would always say I was just picky. Bought a can a few months ago as an adult, thinking, yeah, I was pretty damned picky as a kid. It can't be that bad. Nope. It's that bad. It's just plain awful. In retrospect, I'm pretty sure the reason I never had it at home as a kid was because my parents didn't like it either, and they always had the opinion that once the kid was on solids, there wasn't any such thing as kids food. If it's not good enough for an adult, you don't feed it to the kid. I just buy one pair of trainers and wear them until they fall off my feet, then buy a new pair. I make good money as an adult, but I still do this. I also don't buy branded clothes. I worked with a guy and we earned the same money, yet he collected limited edition trainers and drove an expensive car. I just couldn't comprehend the waste in money. I cycle everywhere because it is good for health. I moved to Switzerland in a few weeks for a job that pays 2.5 times my current salary, and I still intend to cycle everywhere. I feel like it would be an insult to the shoes to not use them till they fall apart. Just me? I like cheap wine. Even when my budget allows for a $75 bottle, I'll buy the $10 bottle. Whoa, you spend $10 on wine. The $4.99 wine is where it's at. $4.99? That's 2.5 bottles of the Charles Shaw Reserve from Trader Joe's. Or, as they're also known, 2 buckchuck. Most of it I would maybe only cook with, TBH. They are pretty much vinegary grape juice. But the Zinfandel, holy shit, it's delicious. And $2. I still prefer thin, rough bath towels. Big fluffy towels are too fluffy. It feels weird when fluffy towels get wet. Yes, if the towel is too fluffy it feels like it isn't doing its job. It's like trying to dry off with a blanket. Not sure if odd or unusual, but my parents used to tell me eat all the food served since we were poor, and sometimes they wouldn't eat so I could have a full serving of food. I'm no longer poor, but I still eat the full plate no matter how full I am. This messed me up royally as a kid. Now I just go without and eat leftovers from the plates of the kids I watch for friends and family. They think it is funny that I'm only hungry when cooking and when everyone else is done. I hope they never figure out how poor I am. LOL. Toast with butter and cinnamon is my favorite go-to for breakfast. Eating fast. Had 4 siblings and only so much food was made for dinner. If you didn't eat fast, you didn't eat. I love Little Caesars $5 pizza more than fancy brick oven pizza. BC spending that much gives me too much anxiety to enjoy the food. I was visiting my folks and my mom ordered pizza from Round Table, SoCal, and it came out to $64 for 2 large pizzas and 1 small. WTH. Not having a lot of clothes. I can't stand a cluttered closet, and having more than like 3 pairs of shoes seems excessive to me. Ditto. I had 4 pairs of shoes once and I felt like I was suffocating, but they were all necessary. 1 pair for work, slip resistant, 1 for church, 1 for just daily use, and 1 pair of gym shoes. I am, to this day, unable to manage my money, going from not being able to spend anything to having at least $300 left for whatever I want made me spend recklessly. You'd think it would be the opposite growing up poor, but spending feels so good. This is fairly common. Most people in your situation will, but things since experience has taught them they don't know when they will have money to spend on things again. So they end up spending it all, thus having no more money. Not filling up the gas tank because you might really need the money later. $10 at a time. Save another $10. That's food for a week just in case. There were 5 of us growing up, and so we always had our good clothes and our everyday clothes. We changed out of our good clothes as soon as we got home from school, and I still have this habit to this day. I change out of my work clothes and into lounge around the house I don't care clothes as soon as I get home. I thought this was the standard. I take off my outside clothes and put on cozy cotton sweats as soon as I'm home. If I was living alone I'd be disrobed soon as I step through my front door. Get these uncomfortable 8 hours clothes off me. Even 4 hours is too long if I was at work. Love me a can of beans. If I have no dinner, no problem, I got a can of beans. I've gotten used to not having a bed frame and ended up using just the mattress and box spring and having old flat pillows instead of new fluffed up ones. Off-brand food so much cheaper. I can't wrap my head around people who don't buy the store brand at least most of the time. At the store I shop at it's usually about half the price and I can't tell the difference, if there even is one. I can sleep anywhere. Slept on the floor for a good couple of years. And can handle heat pretty well cause we didn't have AC. It was 1 window unit. Until senior year. Can literally watch anything and be entertained cause we only had 1 local channel 10 station. Saying all this sounds like I grew up in the damn 50s, but this was all in mid 2000s. LOL. I still buy used clothes. Me too. I try to say it's because I want to be environmentally conscious, but really I just can't bring myself to spend more than $6 on a top. I eat a lot of frozen chicken pot pies. I developed a dislike of wearing new shoes. I prefer old, worn out shoes. The new pairs feel too rigid. Yup, even though I have the money to replace them now, I still wear the same pair of boots I bought my senior year in high school. I'm mid-20s now. They've been worn through every shit job I worked through college, and in every office job I've worked since getting my degree. Through most of my good times, hardships, and adventures, they have been what's on my feet. It's an odd thing to get attached to, but when you've had them for years and they are broken and just right, they are a tough thing to replace. Keeping all my clothes even though I'll never wear them. I didn't have much growing up, so now I feel like I need to keep everything. Not turning on the heater no matter how cold it gets. Just layer up and lots of blankets. I ignore the dates on a lot of food. The milk I smell before I use to make sure it's not sour. Constantly checking the bread for mold when I know it's past the date. Smelling the meat before I cook it to make sure it's okay. Unless something is like 6 or more months past the date, it's usually good. The expiration is just the warning that means you have to start checking it. Plus-sized women. The only skinny chicks in the hood were crack whores. I'm plus-sized and losing weight quickly right now. I've come to believe being fat in the first place, for me, has a lot to do with never knowing if we would have enough food from week to week. Also, I grew up with the mentality that if it's free, take it and take as much as you can. I can travel. I'd love to. I could probably afford to now, but dropping any amount of money on a trip seems insane to me. I grew up never really going anywhere outside of a 3-hour drive and only stayed in hotels maybe like 3 times while I was under 18. It also feels weird to be in debt, but managing it. I have medical bills that I am paying off and credit card stuff, but it's all pretty manageable. Growing up, my mom constantly would get payday loans. We had bill collectors calling non-stop about medical debt, and my mom maxed out every credit card she owned. So I was taught that debt was horrible and you could never get out of it. Also, I really love microwave tortillas and cheese as a whole meal. That and lettuce, cheese, and ranch wrapped up in a tortilla. I think back on it, though, and I'm really not sure how my parents raised me with how much they made. I make double now what both of my parents' combined income was when I was in high school, and I really don't even make that much. I love walking everywhere. If it's within a 60-minute walk, sometimes even longer, I am that person that will walk and wants everyone to join me for the exercise and adventure, when everyone else is begging me to take a 5-10 minute Lyft Uber. Hell no. Why would I pay for something when I can get exercise and have a pleasant stroll for free?